All right, hello, welcome back. Today here's Pikmin with tcbtrio. Please introduce the run for us.
Yep, so if you guys were around for the one-player randomizer run the other day, you got to hear from me a little bit. Today I'll actually be showing you what I got in Pikmin 251. This is a ROM hack based off of Pikmin 2. Still basic same premise, you're going out, you're collecting treasures, you're paying off debt for the Hakutate Freight Company, but a lot of things have been changed about the enemies in Pikmin, and we'll get into that a little bit more and more as we go. So, am I good to start the run? Alright, I'll keep going. There's a few custom treasures in here, and we'll have a feature from a new custom orange Pikmin. It won't get featured very often, unfortunately, but it will be in there. Now, one of the things that we have to keep in mind in this run is instead of collecting 10,000 Pokos, we're going after 20,000 Pokos. Reason being is that the debt is just greater, and the hacker felt like it would be a greater challenge. Now, in this, he did allow us to skip over some treasure cutscenes that make things a little bit slower so the run flows a little bit easier. And I am thankful for him for that, because that's probably a good 30 minutes of cutscene time here. Now, Pikmin 251 was developed, I want to say, in 2019. It's been through so many iterations at this point that I think his last update was in 2022, but this game has been a true project over time to take on for everyone involved in not just testing the game and playing the game, but creating the game.
Alright, wait, I'm sorry, but we're ready, yes, so,
Okay.
whenever.
So I will count down. 3, 2, 1, then go. So 3, 2, 1, go. And day one, thank you. So day one is going to move a little bit slowly here. Unlike Pikmin 2, as of the moment, there's no major game-breaking discovery that we can just skip day one right now. We're working on something that's going to be pretty similar to that once it's done, but for the moment we're going to be taking on day one here. So just like the base game, Olimar and Louie become separated, except this time Louie is in charge. He crash lands back on the Pikmin planet and finds his yellow Pikmin fighting off a dwarf Bulborb, but it looks different than it's ever looked before. That's because he's purple. But regardless, we still squash him, and this allows us to switch over to Olimar and look over on the other side of this bag. Now, and just like any other Pikmin game, we see an onion and we approach it immediately. And this is going to give us our first official yellow Pikmin here. Now, if you remember in Pikmin 2, Louie's eyes pop up. He is a little taller than Olimar, and we never had those eyes move down. So right now, before these pellet posies sprout, we have a little bit of time. So I go ahead and I just throw my one Pikmin here. And this here spider enemy is called a Dweevil. He's going to be very annoying later on in the run. He's here to slow you down on day one. But if you can be quickly about killing him with the captain, you actually never have to touch him with a Pikmin. Which is good because he is actually very uncooperative with Pikmin. So the Dweevil is down successfully, and our first pellet has come in. A few cutscenes we're going to have to get out of the way here. This is basically just the ship informing the two captains that the onion will give you more Pikmin if you put pellets into it. So we're just going to continue to grow a little bit more Pikmin with a little bit of fancy movement. We'll do it efficiently. The idea here is to get 5 Pikmin on the other side of this bag to start carrying that Dweevil enemy to grow more Pikmin. Pickhacker has this tendency of giving you exactly what you need on day 1 to complete the day, which is good. It's just everything is very truncated as a result. Now, what's nice about this game is that unlike Pikmin 2, they will give you nectar on day 1. In this game, though, you don't just run your Pikmin through nectar and make them flowers. You actually have to do it in somewhat of a step process. You use nectar to get them to a bud state, and then to a flower state. So, over here we see this bag will be crushed once it has 20 Pikmin, and we have 21 Pikmin on the field. So we have 1 additional Pikmin who can use his time wisely over there and search for nectar to make my army faster and more efficient. It looks like this is going to be a solo nectar, which is kind of annoying, but really not the end of the world. Let's see. Yeah. So, basically what that means is that on day 1 we can't make flowers, which obviously go faster than buds. So if this was like a normal speed run, if I was just playing and there was no marathon setting, I would actually just reset here. This is not quote-unquote good RNG, but we're going to go with it. We'll use these additional Pikmin that we're going to grow from our original purple Bulborb to round out the 25 Pikmin needed to carry this treasure. Now watch, like, the next day I'm going to get like 12 nectar even though I only need like 3. Alright. No, absolutely. I better reset into that 2-hour run. You know, because when you're going for a world record, there is, like, this certain part that you can't just be giving up 45 seconds to a minute right at the beginning of the run. But at the same time, you don't really want to put yourself in a position where you're sitting here for 2.5 hours resetting on day 1. So it's this fine balance to strike. I'm actually kind of curious. I forget off the top of my head how quickly they get done with this day if they're just buds. Hope everyone's been enjoying the Fangame Marathon. I know it's been going on for the last couple of days. And I'm very happy that you guys let Pikmin 251 in to take a little peek at it. Yeah, that felt palpably a little slower than normal, but it's fine. I'm just gonna look at my own independent timer. Yeah. Okay, that loses like 15 seconds if they're buds. I might just be overreacting. Alright, time to get into a little bit more action on day 2. Because now, here we go. We actually have to grow Pikmin, get to caves, and do things other than just collect a single pine cone, as much fun as that is. So this is where you really get to see a little bit of the multitasking elements to this game. There's a lot of different things going on at once here, so as I use my army, I try to always focus on the furthest reaching object, which in this case is that 5 pellet, and always continue working backward from the furthest away object to make it the less far away object, if that makes sense. So at the end of this whole experience here, we should have about 48 Pikmin, which will be enough to let us go and continue on in our journey. We need 40 Pikmin to crush our next bag and to move on. Personally, my favorite cave comes into play soon, called Ivory Metalworks. It's the first of many caves, and just to give a brief introduction into this game's cave system, every time you go and start a new file of this game, you get the same above-ground layouts. Like, it's very obvious that I know exactly what's happening here on the above ground, and it'll become more obvious as that goes on. However, once you dive into a cave, you're really kind of in RNG's prison, so to speak, because your cave is being generated by RNG for how close treasures are, for how annoying enemies are, even though there's always a same setup, so to speak. It's always sort of this idea of you never know what you're getting into. So I throw 3 Pikmin off to the side with Louie so I can start the process of getting Ultra Spicy Spray. Ultra Spicy Spray doubles your Pikmin's animation speeds, whether that's for good or for worse, like knocking down a gate, that's good. Drowning, that's not good. But either way, the animation speed will be doubled there. Now I had to, usually I like to knock this thing down beforehand while I'm growing all those Pikmin, but I wasn't really able to because I had to use the nectar to get the flowered Pikmin going. I get this frog out of the way from anything that will be coming over, and I continue to grow Pikmin using the enemies available to me. Now, we're going to start playing around a little bit with the game, and we're going to go out of bounds to start doing some more efficient routing. So, unlike Pikmin 2 vanilla version, where you need 10 spicy or bitter berries to get a spray going, in this game you need 12. So I'm really just going to collect these first 2 for now, and we'll get the other 10 a little bit later. Oops, that was a little off. There we go. Okay. So what I just did there is called a Bulborb Bump. That was a glitch discovered by Felipe Productions. He's not actually a quote-unquote traditional speedrunner. He likes to do a little bit more of the challenge runs and try to figure out where glitches are and exploits he can find in the game. But he's done a few speedruns. And he actually discovered that Bulborb Bump, thought it was sort of like a funny miscellaneous trick. And we took one look at that and went, oh my god, you don't understand what you just discovered. So right here, what we're actually going to do is break down a gate that's intended to be broken down much later in the game. It's a little hard to do because the gate's in water, as you'll see, and my Pikmin, well, they're not blue Pikmin. They can't survive in water. But there is this little ledge here that if I throw my Pikmin correctly, which it did not on that first volley, they actually will start attacking the wall. That looks better. Yeah, there we go. If you put your cursor right sort of on this part of that little ledge there, your Pikmin will attack the wall, even though they're going to wind up spreading out pretty far away from the wall, and you can actually take it down to do another glitch. Yeah, just another out-of-bounds glitch. Not a big deal. And actually, we're going to be doing another one in about, I actually don't know, maybe like 3 minutes. But for right now, I'm going to just grab those additional 12 Pikmin I grew from the burrow knit body and come back out to where that gate is being worked on. Now, there's a cave inside of that whole, water gate situation. While you can break open that gate with regular Pikmin, not just blues, you don't want to put yourself in that situation than to have to do the cave without blue Pikmin, so we'll be coming back here a little bit later on. This guy looks like he's just going to be annoying, so let me lure him away. So one thing that I'll be utilizing quite a bit throughout this run is the idea of taking enemies off of my screen. And it's sort of like, the way Pikmin works with enemies is that if you don't see them, they can't bother you, so to speak. If I just get that guy off of my camera field, he's actually a lot easier to avoid. But if I accidentally put him on, he becomes harder to avoid. So here is now another little glitch setup where we'll see. I'm probably going to have a few seconds to wait at this wall because this wasn't the fastest day 2 ever. But once this wall comes down, I'm going to keep my Pikmin right up against this ledge with the C-stick. And I'm going to just sort of dump them off the side, just like so. That way they avoid that little poison bridge right there. And we can do our second out of bounds, where normally you use this ramp to go over the edge, but if you're careful and don't scare the heck out of yourself like I just did, you can get right back up onto this out of bounds ledge. Which is good because there is a cave right over here that we have to get to. Cool. Now, my heart always sort of stops whenever that happens because, sometimes when you get a little bit too far away from your Pikmin, they just leave your army, which is not really a fun experience to have when you're going into a cave, because there's not much you can do once you're out of bounds to sort of recapture them. Now, one of the interesting things about this game is you're now what I like to call Pikmin management. You have 60 Pikmin going.
All right, everyone. We've just got a bit of a technical difficulty. Unfortunately, their internet died for a little bit there, and now we're having issues getting it to connect properly again. They are back. The problem is we just can't pick up their signal at the moment. So hopefully we'll have that fixed very shortly. But otherwise,
my output setting.
hang tight. Hopefully it'll be done soon.
All right, it looks like we are back.
Looks like we're back.
Yep.
All right, just let me know when I can start up again.
Yeah, I'm ready on the timer, so...
Alrighty. Sorry about that, guys. My internet went out for like less than a full second, but it was just enough to freeze the stream key. But that's fine. You guys really didn't miss anything. It's just the floor where I grow white Pikmin, which I cannot stress enough to you is not an exciting experience. This is actually the first difficult sub-level of the game, which I'm glad that we're back in time for. Really, right now, my goal here is to collect one treasure as quickly, as smoothly as possible, and get the heck out of here before the run dies. I make that joke, but I am actually being very serious. This is a dangerous sub-level. It has an enemy called the Creeping Chrysanthemum, which is right here. And it has a few enemies called Shearwigs, which by themselves are not a big deal. But in this game, they can track you like a hawk. And they can come from very far away to mess with your Poco or your treasures. So you just want to get your treasure and get out of here. Which brings up a really cool point. In Pay Off Debt, you really don't have to go for all of the treasures. Now, oh, Jesus, hi. In general, it's usually a good idea to get all of the treasures in sub-levels because they are obviously all worth money. I let a few of my Pikmin there purposefully get planted to get them to be flowers while this guy dies. That way, flower Pikmin move faster. You can actually skip a few treasures that aren't good and are usually fairly cheap. So in that instance, those treasures that I skipped on that floor, the mushroom treasure, is worth about 100 Pocos, which in the context of this speedrun is really no big deal. Like, not getting it doesn't do anything to the quality of the run. Now, it's more important to get things like this sub-level correct here. So that enemy that you saw in Pikmin 2 Normal will blow on your Pikmin and destroy their flowers, which is not good. In this game, they actually will plant your Pikmin, which I'm not going to say is a much better alternative, but they will flower it instead of taking away their flowers. So you have to pluck them, but you will get faster and stronger Pikmin as a result of it. Now, there's a bunch of poison and poison-based enemies in this level, but if you use your white Pikmin efficiently, you can get through this level fairly simply. I just use them to get around the poison enemies, and I use my yellow Pikmin to just help speed things up. So we're actually vibing right now. These two sub-levels can be very bad, and both of these were actually pretty fair. I think the internet dying for that 1 second kind of, like, blessed the RNG seeds, so I'll take it. So next up, we're going to go ahead and fight the final boss of Ivory Metalworks. Now, the final boss of Ivory Metalworks is actually the B Longlegs enemy from Pikmin 2. He has more health, he moves faster, he's a little bit more wily, but he's still the same basic idea that you were dealing with in the vanilla game. Luckily, we have yellow Pikmin to deal with him. A little bit of a late start on my part there. I C-sticked forward a little too much with my army, so we're going to have to four-cycle him, it looks like. But really, you can take a few extra seconds on a 5-cycle. Very nice. An internet death and a 5-cycle for the marathon. Gotta love it. So he drops an item called the Treasure Gauge. The Treasure Gauge is probably in this speed run the most important item that we're going to collect. And that's just going to give us a little radar at the bottom of our screen to help us figure out where treasures are. Now, that's not really the biggest deal when you can see them all out in the open and it's fine, but it gets a little bit harder when you have buried treasures, when you have treasures inside of enemies that you're having to deal with. Alright. So like I said earlier, we can just go ahead and skip all treasure cutscenes with the start button. Probably saves, like I said, about a half hour over the course of this run. Now, if we don't collect all the treasures, we can just go ahead and skip the Cave Complete cutscene, save our game, and move on. Now, this is an unskippable cutscene where the ship just goes, "Wow, I really hoped you enjoyed exploring in a cave. I wish there was something we could actually do." Now, the reason why he did that is that normally in Pikmin 2, you go in, you collect the first cave usually has a treasure that allows you to access the next area. In this case, we skipped that cave and we're going to go there now. So it does look to the ship like we're actually not really ready to move on from where we are. Even though, to be honest with you, there's nothing that scandalous coming up in this cave. But I do take advantage of a little bit of the downtime that I have to replenish my numbers a bit. With the pellets that spawn at base, that's always a very important thing. Now, unfortunately, in this particular run, once we're done with this cave, we actually have the day ended for us. So we're not going to actually have the chance to pluck or grow Pikmin after the fact. So we have to just eat a little bit of time here to pluck. But it becomes very worth it to get those extra 11 Pikmin. This whole run becomes sort of an idea of balancing growing Pikmin and also, like, going quickly. So, here we have Abandoned Toy Box, which is supposed to be the first cave that you see in the game. It's pretty simple as a result. I say as I almost kill a white Pikmin. You're just seeing a bunch of dwarf purple bulborbs down here. You gotta just make sure that you're not hemorrhaging Pikmin to them. I like to do that by just kind of killing them off as I see them, and working backward to find the treasure. So this is actually a GameCube joystick right here that we're collecting. And as long as we have a little bit of downtime from the bad layout, we're going to nectar up our Pikmin. Okay. Now, I choose to kill some of the enemies early on, especially these dwarf bulborbs, because I really, really don't want to lose a white Pikmin. What winds up happening is with white Pikmin, you can't grow them easily. You have to find a white candy pot flower in a cave, which is not a free thing. Now, here are my friends, the orange Pikmin. They are resistant to explosions, which is really cool if there was more explosions in this game. You'll see what I mean later on, but right now we have a custom hazard here, and this is the same idea as the poison geysers from Pikmin 2, except if you touch them, they will instantly vaporize your Pikmin. Now, I'm just going to let these orange Pikmin take them out, and everybody enjoy the orange Pikmin, because this is pretty much the last time we see them for the entire speedrun. So, what we're going to do is just use them real quick to squash these bulborbs for this treasure's protection. So this is the whimsical radar from Pikmin 1, and it's going to give us the ability to travel to our next area. Yeah, goodbye, orange. One thing as time will move on, and we'll see maybe in future hacks, is like, will we see more explosion hazards? Will we see more interaction from orange Pikmin? We'll find out. But either way, I'm just going to save the game in case any catastrophes happen. And now we go ahead and enter the longest and most technically complicated above-ground split in this run, which is really, like... I like getting, like, the harder cave over with early and the harder above-ground splits over with early. It kind of just gives me a sense of peace throughout the run. I'm just going to save again. I don't want to go through that cutscene once again. If anything goes wrong and I do have to reset, which I really hope doesn't happen, I don't think it should. I just want to have my bases covered that we don't have to go through another 45 seconds of unskippable text. Now here we enter Flooded Fields. You'll recognize Flooded Fields as Awakening Wood from Pikmin 2, except, well, it's kind of flooded. We have no blue Pikmin, and we're trapped by an electric gate. Luckily, we have yellow Pikmin, otherwise this hack would not be playable, because if not, we wouldn't really have the opportunity to bring down this gate. So every 2,000 Pokos you collect, you get one of those cutscenes that just tell you you're 10% more done with paying off the debt, and I try to do some Poco routing and math to avoid them, but they're very hard to avoid because every 2,000 they show up. So while we're in this area and we're kind of trapped with not much to do until that gate comes down, I just take a quick moment to grow yellow Pikmin from the pellets in the area. That will limit how many Pikmin we have on the field, but it will also give us more power to take down gates and kill other enemies that we need to. And as we can see, this gate is not going anywhere for the moment. Okay. Once the gate goes down, I take 20 white Pikmin and 7 yellow Pikmin over to this area. Those 7 yellow Pikmin are going to be used to help break down a bridge and deal with a beetle that's going to give us some nectars here. So here is this Mamuta, which is actually a difficult enemy to deal with, but I've kind of figured out, like, the strategy for dealing with them. You just kind of have to get behind them for, like, a second as they use their attack animation, dismiss your army, and then punch them with your captain. And for whatever reason, that's actually just very effective at killing them, and I will definitely take that. Now, during this time where all of my Pikmin are working on gates, and there's really not much to do, I go ahead and I take advantage of this here beetle. He can give you 5 nectar patches if you're skillful here, which I am not always skillful on the last throw, so we'll see. Good. Wait, did I just go into the poison? No, I didn't. Okay, that's actually that's faster than I'm used to dealing with that beetle. Normally it takes me a little longer. So over here, we're just breaking down a gate to access our friends, the red Pikmin, as we can see there. Red Pikmin are a little bit more powerful in this game than they are in Pikmin 2, but that is also kind of necessary because we don't have access to Pikmin 2's, like, flagship fighting Pikmin, the purple Pikmin, until much later on in the game. So we're going to take a little bit of time here to grow red Pikmin. Now you guys may have noticed, if you're a fan of Pikmin 2, that there was an ultra bitter plant just chilling out that I chose to not deal with. And while bitter sprays are certainly fun, they're very much not necessary for this speedrun in particular. So we just focus up on spicy sprays. I like to keep myself spicy and not bitter in life. So we're going to use these red Pikmin that we're plucking here to grow more red Pikmin with all of these enemies and pellets that we see. But first, before we do any of that, we're going to use the nectar that this Pikmin was kind enough to pluck for us to make these Pikmin a little faster as we do this. Now that little completion jingle in the background is just telling me that my gate is down over there, but I just want to get these different things moving first, and then I come over and get these Pikmin on the bridge. I described this split as just like a lot of hurry up and wait. Because, like, you have to get things moving at a certain pace, but there's not, like, a ton of urgency once your different Pikmin types are working on different obstacles. So, like, these guys coming into the ship right now are only going to come in as fast as they can get in. And those Pikmin working on the bridge can only beat it down so quickly. So the idea is just to get to the next checkpoint and move. Oh, that was stupid. Alright, cool. I didn't really lose anything to that. Alright, so our red Pikmin are grown. That's pretty much as many as we're going to use throughout the run. We may grow just a few more extras here and there. Speaking of growing a few more extras, I'll just take care of that real quickly. The bridge is still being worked on. Oh, nope, the bridge is done, which is cool. So we're going to go ahead and just start collecting our next wave of Ultra Spicy Berries here. And during that time, we're going to go ahead and collect another additional treasure. This tomato is kind of far out of the way, but it really makes a lot of sense with the rest of the split just to grab it. Because it winds up crossing over with your Pikmin so many times that you have so many opportunities just to grab the treasure and go. Now, this spicy berry situation is slightly concerning for me, so we're going to see how it plays out. Jeez, this tomato is, like, perfectly blocking me. Alright. So, we just have to wait for our next wave of spicy berries, which shouldn't take a very long time to spawn here. They are on a timer cycle, so unless I was horrendously off, they usually spawn in the next couple of seconds here. And if I was that horrendously off, we'll deal with it in a minute. Yeah, looks like I may have been off. Alright. So there's a little bit of a backup strat to that. What we do is we grab this globe piece here, because this is going to allow us to access the next area. Alright, there's the spicy berries. That's good. Once the globe gets going a little bit more, I'm just going to use these Pikmin to get in the spicy berries, because this is going to be a weird transition if I don't. Alright, I had to resort to a little bit of a backup strat that I don't like resorting to normally, but it actually kind of works out. Alright, everything's back in order. We're all good. Now, we're just going to go ahead and take advantage of a little bit of an not really an out-of-bounds mechanic. I can't really call it that. You're really not supposed to be into the water over here until you break down a gate more central to the map. Now, because we came in here with white Pikmin where normally you don't, we were able to break down the poison gate and totally skip this black gate here. Now, There still is a very lucrative cave on the other side, though. So what we're actually going to do is just give our Pikmin here some time to get in, and we're going to run over there and take on this cave. So we have 100 Pikmin here, nice and strong, and we have our Ultra Spicy Spray. Now, for the rest of the run, we no longer have to really, quote-unquote, worry about making those with berries. We are more than free to just go ahead and use beetles or other spray drops, and we'll get into that now, actually. So, during this run, we have things called spray drops and beetles that we have to worry about for our sprays. Now, these beetles are fairly simple. We've already seen a green beetle. Normally, instead of dropping 3 nectars, he drops an Ultra Spicy Spray, but because we hadn't unlocked it, he did 3 nectars. And every time you break open an egg, you get a 5% chance of getting an Ultra Spicy Spray for free, which becomes very big as the run moves on. You want the free Ultra Spicy Sprays. They make the run much faster. Now here we have a pretty straightforward layout. This burrow knit charges down and he himself has the treasure. Now what you'll see me doing a lot with several treasures is replacing them with white Pikmin. White Pikmin move faster than the rest of the Pikmin types, and on a small little sublevel like this, it's not really going to make a difference. On larger sublevels, it actually makes a pretty significant difference for the white Pikmin moving. Now, you'll also see me collect bug bodies, really just the enemies that I defeat. So when you're above ground and playing, those enemies will be very helpful to you because you're going to grow Pikmin. Here, that's not the case. You can't grow Pikmin underground. You don't have access to your onions that you need to do that. So what you actually get instead is a very small amount of money. And on first glance, when dealing with a run of 20,000 plus Pokos of debt, it doesn't really seem terribly worth it for like 6 or 7 here and there. But over the course of all of those sublevels, it really does add up very quickly. So what we do here is we have a sublevel that has enemies that I would consider to be fairly dangerous in the fiery Bulblax, and that's that on fire Bulborb you see over there. So what I do is I elect to get treasures moving as I fight him, so this fight doesn't just have, like, dead time to it. And if you get, like, a certain rhythm of throwing to you, you can actually... Oh, I messed that up. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna fake him out. Alright, he's good, and we just have this fire blowhog to deal with here. Because obviously you don't want something just blindly shooting out fire at you. So, as we collect this treasure here, we're just going to kill this fire bullhog off so it doesn't do anything ridiculous to us. And we get all of these treasures and all of these bug bodies. Once again, just trying to keep that money count going. Now here we actually have, okay. Good. That was actually fairly good, too. I would love that in a speedrun. Normally I get much worse 2s in a speedrun. Alright. So next up, we have an example of a treasure inside of an enemy. So this silver Bulborb right here has a treasure inside of him. Now, we all really do have treasures inside of us at the end of the day, but he, in a very literal sense, has a gem lodged inside of him that we somehow dislodge by killing him. I never really understood that logic completely as a kid, but here we are. And during this time, too, we also have this crystal that we can collect for more money as well. Looks like the big body got in, which is nice. Now, sort of just like the Pikmin 2 Bible in general states that whenever your final treasure is moving, your captain is always going toward the exit. Alright, I will save before this sub-level. This can get kind of rough. Although, that looks good, actually. You know what? I lied. This actually is not as good as I thought it was. The sub-level made a liar out of me. Alright, fine. So, these 3 spider enemies here are designed to steal treasures from you as they're moving, but I'm going to zoom in this camera as far as I can right now. And what that's going to do is keep them off screen, and it's going to keep them immobilized until something goes near them. So you see my treasure was just free to pass right there. Nothing was bothering it. It didn't wind up having to, like, path through any of the spiders in a weird way. It just took it and went. Now, there's also a treasure inside of a purple bulborb somewhere on this map right here, and it's got to be in this room. It has to be, otherwise, like, it didn't spawn. There it is. Okay. Now, one of the nice things about growing so many yellow Pikmin is stuff like this can happen, and it's not the end of the world. Like, he's gonna just nom real quick, and that's fine. Now, losing 5 Pikmin doesn't feel good on the old ego, but honestly, it doesn't make a true difference because you wind up growing so many yellow Pikmin throughout the run that, truthfully, it really doesn't matter if you lose a bunch at the beginning. Just gonna have to kill him off real fast. I am amazed he didn't light any of my Pikmin on fire there. Exactly, what you can't see in this instance truly cannot hurt you. And, like, you'll see me doing off-screen stuff a bunch during this run. The large bulborb bodies are just very worth it to collect. You don't want to, like, start skipping them too much. Oh god, do not feel responsible for every Pikmin death. You will never sleep at night as a Pikmin speedrunner if that's the case. Okay, this is not the best layout, but it's fine. So there are 2 Snagrets here, and I got the one without the treasure closer to me, so he's just gonna, like, come up, say hello, and we're just gonna have to take him out real fast. Okay. Where are you? There you are. They show up in the weirdest places in this arena. They really do. Yeah, never mind. No, it's a fun time. It's just, obviously you do kill Pikmin, and there really is no way around that. And sometimes, it doesn't really happen in this speedrun that you guys will see, but sometimes you actually have to route in killing your Pikmin. It's a big thing on Pikmin 1, where, like, you can be on one side of the map, essentially, and need to get Pikmin over to the other side. Like, you know, need to get a treasure, or... sorry. Like, you need more Pikmin by the onions, and, like, there's water everywhere. It's really kind of fine if you just ram your red Pikmin into the water. So in Pikmin 1, we actually do purposefully kill off a bunch of Pikmin. So as we land back here in flooded fields, before we truly just run away from the area and be done with it for right now, we're going to go back into another cave that's going to give us an item that's so useful it basically allows us to perform early blues. Now, as I go to that cave, I'm going to do a beetle flip and a spray dupe, so during that time, I just give my yellow Pikmin some time just to collect those pellets. Always be restocking Pikmin. Now, here is where we get to see a little bit of some glitching happening. So that red drop right there is an ultra spicy spray. If a captain runs into it, we collect one for free, but no one ever stopped to consider what happens when 2 captains run into it. And what happens is you get 2 sprays. So now I have 3 spicy sprays, which is really good because that's going to help me out a lot in this cave, and that's going to help me out a lot in the above ground splits here. So one thing I want to draw attention to in this hack, because I feel like it's very easy to, like, miss it almost, is the music. I don't know if anyone is a big Paper Mario fan, but you should recognize this jingle here. Now, we have a Toad Amiibo treasure, it appears. Guys, please pick that up. Please pick that up. Come on. Okay, good. Before I explain that, that is a bread bug. And bread bugs are not exactly my favorite enemy in this game by any way, shape, or form. They steal treasures from your Pikmin and take them away, which is fine normally, but they do have a little bit of like a wonky movement pattern in this game, which makes it a little different. So once again, I'm kind of setting myself up to lose some yellows here, but it's not the end of the world. I'd prefer if I didn't lose any more. Okay, good. Now, there's no way I'm going to collect that large Bulborb with where it is. It's just not happening. So I just take a second there to grab one of the sheer grub bodies. I believe all of them are ported to the Pikmin engine. I actually would have to check with Pickhacker on that one. I didn't want to make my man wake up this early to help commentate the run. I already did that to him a few years ago. I did an All Treasures run, and I made him wake up at 4 a.m. in his time to commentate it, and he fell asleep during the stream a little bit, so we're not doing that to him again. Alright, so this is an instance of where we get an optional treasure, and we are going to wind up with this optional treasure. This green blowhog right here that plants you is usually kind of in like a horrifying spot to go for, but in this case he's so close to your spawn point that I'm gonna just let him like give me his treasure. Now I was kind of hoping in that time like the bread bug would come over here and grab this ring, but he didn't, which is I guess fine. Let me guess, he's gonna grab... Is he doing anything? Man, this bread bug is not very good at its job. I will admit, I've seen better bread bugs. Maybe don't put that bread bug up for supervisor. If I'm in charge, I'm not putting him up for supervisor. Yeah, I really like Pickhacker's level designs in general, and I will, you know, I will, to the Discord, share some of the other Pikmin hacks and everything. In general, they do such a good job of just capturing the moods you want. I'm playing relatively quickly, but not stupid aggressively, and it just, like, you get into this rhythm of just playing this game. And I feel like they do a good job of marrying in soundtracks to certain cases. Like, the Shy Guys toy box works very well for more chaotic sublevels. Alright, that was awful. Let's try that again. Hello? They don't want to latch, I guess? Usually, this is a smoother fight right here, but it's over. Yeah, usually that sublevel is smoother, I'm not gonna lie. That was actually just like the least smooth 3 I've ever had. Alright, at least I see the exit and we can move on. Okay, now we run into a rest floor here where sometimes developers, even in the main game of Pikmin 2, were like, hey, we're hitting you with a lot of difficult stuff. Here's a floor just to restock some of your stuff. And we also get introduced to our friends, the Bulbear Pikmin. Now, in Pikmin 2 Vanilla, there is something called Bulbmin, in which it's just sort of like Bulborbs. that don't really leave the cave with you, though. That's the only downside, is you get 5 free Pikmin, but they never leave the cave. You can't store them in the rocket. There's no onion for them. However, oh, there it is. I was going to say, I have no idea where the beetle is right now, but we have a lip... Wow, I'm amazed none of those hit. Oh, shit. Oh, come on. Stay in. Stay in. Oh, that's bad. Come on. Be real. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Buddy, just be cool. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, he's out. He's gone. He's not coming back, kids. Okay, so there goes 2 spicy sprays. That's really unfortunate. That normally doesn't happen, but he flipped out of bounds and went into Narnia, as they say. So we're going to improvise here. Now, normally we're supposed to get a spicy spray. We didn't. So our next strategy for spicy spray is to blindly hope that one of these eggs has a spicy spray in it. Okay. Blind hope 0. Reality 1. Let's see. Any blind hope for me? Blind hope? No, and no. Okay, we are down 2 spicy sprays, kids. We're gonna have to, do a little improvisation here, because it's a marathon run. Why wouldn't that happen, right? So, regardless of not getting that spicy spray, we are gonna crack open a spicy spray on this sub-level, because that wandering bull bear right there is not our friend. Believe it or not, he doesn't have good intentions for our army, and it's just much safer to deal with him like this. Now, that bull bear will regenerate with time, like its HP will start coming back. I just want to get this treasure moving because it's further away, and I will get these all in time. This is a very strange layout, actually. Normally, these eggs don't spawn over here. Blind hope, let's go, blind hope. We love blind hope. It's the only thing that gets me my spicy spray now. Nope, okay. This is one of the more subtle, difficult levels in the game, to be honest with you. And it does not look like I got a good layout, so you guys will truly get to see some fighting. So I always just... Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Actually, I'm not even that mad at this right here. Okay, that was stupid. So, the big challenges here on this sub-level is just managing this okay, that was not what I wanted to happen. I wanted him to go over, and there we go. Okay. Managing the sheer number of enemies here is actually fairly difficult. We have a bread bug, which, as I stated, can actually be a massive pain. We have an antenna beetle, which is not that bad, honestly. Oh, where did it go? There it is. And we have a creeping chrysanthemum as well as 3 shearwigs. And again, the idea here is just keep stuff off screen, even if it kills you. That one Pikmin's got his stuff together, it's fine. I'm just going to take my time here, I don't want to put them on screen for too long. Cool. So yeah, all 4 of those dweevils did not go for that treasure because I kept them off screen. Okay, that was actually cool. I'm happy with that. So what my worry was those dweevils that were built up right there were going to kind of bum rush me, if so to speak, and take my treasures. What wound up happening instead is they all just kind of randomly congregated in the middle of a alcove. Now, one thing I want to point out there, though, is that at the beginning of the level, that creeping chrysanthemum was right in the middle of my path, and I just used the Pikmin to distract it. You're gonna see a lot of distraction going on in this because there are just some enemies that really are not worth dealing with in the context of a speedrun. They kill a lot of Pikmin, they don't really like to cooperate or play by the rules. It's not easy. Okay, that one's good. And we're good here. Okay. Spicy spray? Hey? No? Okay. No spicy spray. I feel like I'm, like, desperately just gambling with the game and being like, please just give me the spray that I need. I've actually lost quite a few runs in this sub-level to weird glitchy things happening, so I'm trying to play in a certain way to avoid that happening. So I'm playing very awkwardly right now, which is fine. Basically, if the red bug that has an enemy gets toward the rocket thing as like a treasure's being collected, it doesn't take damage and just infinitely flings itself backward. And that's very bad in the context of this run. Like, right now, I'm just gonna, let that treasure come in. Because if it's the giant bread bug that dies, that's really a tragedy. Or that doesn't die, that gets softlock, that's a huge tragedy. If it's one of the small guys, it's almost like, okay, who cares? But that radio that the bread bug just dropped is going to allow us to perform early blues, so it's, like, kind of vital that we get that. And if the bread bug gets that knockback glitch, there's literally nothing we can do about that. Okay, so we have a successful run. We're gonna save. And now we are going to take the coward's way out. I'm still down 2 spicy sprays. Normally, we immediately end the day and just go to the next area. I can't guarantee you guys we're gonna get the spicy spray we need to, like, make that work. So, once again, if this was a real speedrun, this would be a reset candidate, because this is just not, like, a good strat here that I'm doing. However, we do actually have the beetle respawning every time you enter and exit a cave, so we just traded a little bit of time here, and all of a sudden we're back where we need to be for spicy sprays. Okay. A little bit of the easy way out there. I regret nothing. Okay. So, really, that is the majority of the quote-unquote setup that has to happen. Really, there's not a ton of setup that has to happen in this final area, and our job moving forward now is to get money. But first, we have to grab blue Pikmin. Right off the bat, we have 25 white Pikmin. I really do try my best to track my white deaths throughout the run, because if they add up, poison gates can get really complicated fast. So I try not to get too many of them going, because I don't want things to fall apart. But right now, we look to be in good shape here. So, we're going to go ahead and activate Arachnid Asylum, and start on that cave. It's arguably I'm going to say not the most difficult cave in the run, but it's arguably like the top 3 difficult caves, because it is so dark. I don't know if anyone else has noticed about this ROM hack yet. It's so dark in all of the caves. I have my TV's brightness jacked all the way up to the top brightness setting, and I don't really see that well. So, Arachnid Asylum takes a lot of advantage of that and makes you play against things that would be relatively easy otherwise, but sort of in the dark. So, over here, we're just going to go ahead and grab our blue Pikmin. they normally would take quite a little bit of puzzle solving, but we just got an extended whistle range from that radio, so we can actually whistle and activate the blue Pikmin. Now, I'd love to grab those other 4 if that thing would just come a little closer. Wow, this is actually hilarious. I'm gonna have to call the Pikmin police here. Okay, there we go. Now, there's actually, in one of the caves, there is a treasure that lights up all of the sublevels very well. Unfortunately, that cave is in a very bad spot and is a very slow cave to go through, so it doesn't really make sense to do it. So right here, we're going to go ahead and just continue to bash through this area. Every time you hear that little squeal, that bug enemy is essentially picking up a Pikmin. So when it dies, that Pikmin will carry it back to the base for free money for me. Now here is the Pokemon substitute. If anyone is a Pokemon fan, he's right there. He's substituting in for a treasure. Quite literally, I think there was another treasure we tried, the hack team tried putting on this floor that, like, didn't work with it. Okay, so they had to substitute in the treasure for that because it would work instead of the other one. Okay. So it literally be doing its job. Now this snitch bug here is not the end of the world, just so long as it doesn't go crazy on my white Pikmin. I really don't want to be losing them. Any Pikmin that's planted at the end of a sublevel is considered dead. Alright, let's see. Not the best layout there, but not the worst. Sublevel 2. Ooh, this actually looks very good. Wow. Really not used to getting good sublevel 2s, so just excuse me if I'm a little bit, like, taken aback by this. So you want the crown to be close to the spawn, and it actually is for, like, the first time ever. It's, like, right there, instead of being in another room. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get an additional treasure here, if I'm right. Yes, I am. Cool. Cool. Now, what I'm going to have to do in the meanwhile, though, is I believe that there... So basically, that little blowhog that dropped that cookie treasure is not a guarantee to spawn in a spot that makes it worth fighting him. In that case, if I didn't fight him, it was actually going to turn deadly for me, so I definitely needed to fight him. See what I mean? And this is what I mean about... Oh, crap. Oh, crap. How did 2 whites get killed by that? So the Dweevil grabbed the cookie, so I'm actually just going to, in real time, say, nah, I don't need that cookie. It's only worth 90. And I'm just going to get the crown and go. I'm very confused as to how they just took those white Pikmin, but it's fine. Well, I wonder how many I have. Let's see. 22. Yeah, that's not great. Alright, whatever Pikmin got planted, I'm just gonna have to let them be. So here is a level that takes full advantage of this advanced darkness we have going. Sublevel 4. Sublevel 4 is fun. It's so much fun that we're going to trademark it as fun. Now, this is where my treasure gauge is like my best friend, because to be honest with you, I would have basically no idea where I'm going without it. So we have a Pokeball here that we're going to collect. Always usually worth it to grab this guy, and it's usually pretty out of the way. We're going to have a gate here with the exit under it, so I just want to get that going in case. And let's see, it's one of these two frogs. I believe it's the one toward the pit. Alright, yeah, we need this Dumple to get out of here. We need these frogs to come over here. Okay, time for this. Now, they jump really high in this mod, which normally would be a bad thing, except for this, like, very niche instance where once it's up in the air, like, they kind of just take damage. Oh, that was unfortunate, but it should be fine. I don't believe he's close enough down there to eat anybody. Okay, a little scary, but not the end of the world. Okay, that's about as scary as that's gonna get. Because this sublevel here is pretty straightforward. Oh, very straightforward. It's right next to me. So, really, right here, we have this ability, and I know it seems slightly okay. I don't know if I just whistled off too many, so I'll just give a few. I don't know if it's meaningless to do it completely, but there is a candy pop bud here that allows us to make blue Pikmin, and that's very important for this run. Blue Pikmin count is pretty much like the last important part about this speedrun here. So when you throw a Pikmin into these like multicolor changing candy pops, you wind up getting 5 Pikmin in return. So I'm just going to go ahead right there and grab those 5 blue Pikmin and move on with the sub-level. Or, yeah, 6 blue Pikmin. Now, what that actually allows me to do, it gives me a little bit more flexibility and freedom next split, so to speak, because I don't have to grow quite as many. And here we have, at the bottom of Arachnid Asylum, for some reason, Empress Bulblax. I love Pickhacker dearly, don't understand him on this one. Now, she is giving birth into a hole, which is like mood. Okay. Alright, so now we got Empress Bulblax coming in and the knapsack. Yeah, quite a few deaths there, but really not the end of the world. So I don't really love the 3 white Pikmin deaths, but everything other than that is fine. And that isn't enough deaths to start making me scared yet. So we just have to do one more cave in this area before we get going, and it's called Subterranean Sands. I actually think this cave is a lot of fun. And that's not fun trademark, that's actually, it's like just a good cave design. I like it. What we're gonna do, though, real fast, is we have to grow blue Pikmin as well, because we do need a few more than what we have right now. And these here blowhogs are gonna help me do it. Now, what we're going to do is just, once again, be utilizing off-screen techniques here, because those snitch bugs can actually do quite a number on your army, and you just have to go ahead and stay smooth and stay away from them. Now, this is Subterranean Sands. It's capped by this little, like, concrete-looking stuff. Those two blue Pikmin, though, will do a perfectly fine job of getting rid of that stuff. And in the meanwhile, what we have to do is get another treasure and more blue Pikmin grown. Okay, come on. Really? Alright, I forget sometimes I have the extended whistle, and then all of a sudden I'll just do stuff like grab Pikmin, like, way off of a treasure. Alright, so next up we just gotta grab this treasure and we'll be on our way. You know what? He's in a spot that's not making me feel very safe. That Dirigibug is a good soul, but, like, it can do some stuff to mess you up, and I don't want that. Alright, that should be enough blue Pikmin. Wow, that snitch bug is, like, right here. Okay, good, he's moving. Alright, here's to hoping that treasure gets in at some point. There it is. Okay. I was just, like, awkwardly waiting there, like, hey, maybe it'll get in. Okay. Next up we have Subterranean Sands. Once again, I actually think this is a pretty cool cave. So the first sub-level, I'll be the first one to admit, is a little underwhelming. It's just a bear treasure underneath some enemies. But then, like, I think what's cool about this cave in general is that it does a good job of showing off hazards without being absurd. Alright, so this is another instance of skipping a treasure because this ring is so close to me, obviously I have to get it. There's no world where it doesn't make sense to grab this. However, there's like a mushroom treasure on the other side of this like sub-level right now that I have no interest in going to get. It's not worth very much and it's going to path me through so many enemies that I'm just moving on. Alright, so there should be one of those cool candy pop flowers here. I apologize for my sneezing. I guess there's a little bit of pollen out in the air today. Right. So there is a Wollywog with a treasure that looks like it's behind a gate, so I'm gonna have to lure him out, which is, like, not a good layout. But we can use this opportunity to grow a few more free blue Pikmin. I think that's the Wollywog in question, pushing himself all the way to the back here. Come on, come here. Good. It's fine. Now, for any faint of heart viewers, look away. So I'm just doing some math. Good. Little too many Pikmin right there. Because there's 2 more Queen Candy Buds, and if you get 100 Pikmin in the field, they won't keep giving you stuff. Oh, sweet Jesus. Got it. Okay. Gonna use a little bit of enemy assistance here. Alright, there's no way he's not gonna be an issue. Even though I don't really technically have to have had killed that guy, it was, like, very apparent to me he was going to make issues for me. And if that is the case, I will always try to kill them if it's going to be a problem. Alright, try to keep him off screen, and maybe that will work. I'll fix that carry in a second. All right, I got a lot of free bug bodies on that sub level, which is going to pay off massively soon. The one thing that this run has going for it right now is definitely a lot of good bug bodies and a lot of good Pikmin count. All right, ooh, this is going to be interesting. This enemy is in the water like 95% of the time, and I'm not really even 100% sure what to do right now. This is cool. Like, I don't think I've seen him out of the water, like, ever. You know what? We're gonna just treat this like it's a normal playthrough and just do what we're supposed to do. Alright, so as you see, the bread bug just stole a treasure, which is, like, not ideal, but it's fine. I have to start doing damage. This is where this floor can get kind of terrifying, is like, I don't really have a great way of ensuring... Oh, yeah, he's going to get this. Yeah, no. Okay. This bread bug is going to be a big issue. My only real sincere hope here is that he goes for the bug bodies here and I can just get him. Yeah, he got both treasures. That's a good bread bugging. Okay, cool. Yeah. If this happens, it's not the end of the world, because you can just kill him off like this, but it's, like, definitely super inconvenient to have happen. Because now, we have to deal with this Wollywog that's going to be spawn guarding the treasures, which is, like, not fun. Come on. Guys, please pick it up. There's 19 of you. Okay. Dang. That was tragic. Big and tragic. Cool. Oh yeah, thank you so much, Sugar Falcon, for the raid. Alright, so that was probably... Yeah, so obviously, once again, to give people a little bit of an insight into the speedrunning world, this run is not a dead run into, like, okay, it's not so bad that I can't continue it. It would be one of these situations where I would never be able to world record with the mistakes and whatnot of this, so this would have been a reset by this point, but it really isn't a reset in the regard of like, oh, I've lost so many Pikmin I can't come back from this. It's really not that bad. The time is just a little slow, as they say. Everything else is actually fine about this. Now, I'm not in love with this guy's positioning here. Because he's going to just do this, like, weird sliding thing and kill a bunch of Pikmin. So right now what you're witnessing is that this, like, he's sliding... When he's being attacked, he slides in a different way than he normally... I think they saw that treasure. Alright, let's just hope they didn't, and move on. Good, they didn't. When he slides like that, you're aiming for him, and he just kind of, like, not becomes invisible, but it becomes really difficult to hit him like that. Okay. So now we check the eggs for nectar and spicy sprays, and there should be the exit in there. Cool. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Alright, so once again, I've got a spot where I'm a little low on my sprays, but to be honest with you, it's totally fine. We've hit a point where we're then going to sort of, I'm not going to say be going back to the beginning of the run, but we're going back to areas where we're not going to be in as dire need for spicy spray. Because the majority of the walls that we've dealt with in this run are knocked over. I'll just do that for an extra... So now we're just going to use this spicy to get rid of this boss right here. When you dismiss them on him... Ooh, that's not great. Good. When you dismiss them on him in a certain way like that, you can actually just get them to, like, one-cycle him, and it's very easy. Now, what I am able to do with this treasure is this is the pluck-a-phone, so now instead of manually having to pluck my Pikmin, I can just walk over and whistle them. And we're off. Alright, that is Mystical Beach. That's everything we're going to be doing in this area. So next up, we're going to go back to our first area. Now, we're going to be collecting some above ground treasures in that first area as well as going to a cave. So we're just to get a few extra Pokos, because the way that this route works is we're like consistently 300-400 off. And there's about 300-400 Pokos of very easy to collect above ground treasures here, so I go for them. So, the really, I guess, nice thing is like, you don't, quote-unquote, need yellow Pikmin to do this. You need your whites, your blues, and your reds. Everything else is sort of optional at that point. Now, this bag right here is not 100% necessary to squash, but if you're going to go ahead and try to do some of the other stuff in this sub-level, above ground split, it becomes very worth it. So there's a buried treasure across the way like that. So we're going to get that guy moving. Come on. Come on. Please? Please? I like when you have to negotiate with the enemies during the speedrun. It really is a sign of confidence. Come here. Good, Wollywog. So we're just killing off a few enemies that we don't really want on the field right now because they will mess with us and make our lives harder. Okay. Just grabbing the last above ground treasure that we're going to get here, and then I'll make my way over to the cave. You may recognize this guy from helping us get out of bounds earlier, and his service was noted, but now we've got to take him out. It's tragic how it happens. Cutthroat world of Pikmin speedrunning right here. Yeah, he was hiding a whole pretzel, though. I mean, like, pretzels are kind of goated. I don't know where everyone stands on snack foods, but, like, pretzels are, like, kind of a crowd pleaser in every way you go. Good. That Wollywog just has a very fun way of finding ways to kill runs. And I don't appreciate that. Alright, so it appears as though I got Matites because my Pikmin have somehow ended up in the friggin' water. But that's cool. Alright. So, we'll, believe it or not, only have 3 caves left in this whole experience together. So this is Aquatic Depths, and this is a cave that's meant to be done a little early into the run, so it's not as threatening as some of the other caves we've been seeing, honestly. But it's still, I mean, it can still mess you up, trust me. This can ruin your whole day. Oh, I just killed those reds, it's fine though. Okay, as long as those whites are fine. Yuck. I don't know how no one's died yet through all of this. This is like Rage in a Cage right now. The one difficult part about this one sublevel in particular is that it's so cramped that it's like you feel like everything's on top of you. And once the 2 Wollywogs spawn together like that, it definitely is not the funnest experience. But nothing tragic happens, so we continue. So for the most part, Aquatic Depths is not really that threatening. And it actually even has a rest floor for some reason. I never quite understood that. Okay. So this is a very good layout because normally most of the treasures on this layout spawn directly into the water, which the only thing that can get them at that point is blue Pikmin. But it looks like 2 of our treasures here spawned with a land connection, so we can actually just max load this with the blue Pikmin and move on. It looks like this is the guy hiding the treasure. Yep. And we're going to collect Pepsi. If you're a Coke person, I'm sorry, we couldn't get the rights to it. Where is the exit, though? It's got to be over there. Oh, well, wrong exit. It's this one I want. Alright, not terrible. So there's 2 easier floors and 1 more difficult floor. This is one of the easier floors in hand. That greater jelly float over there, that big guy, has a treasure. So what we're going to just kind of do here is the technique of divide and conquer. Although I can't even see the real above ground treasure anywhere. Like, actually, where is this? I'm confused as heck right now. Okay. I see it. Okay. I didn't see that one alcove, and it made me look very silly. Alright, yeah, you're gonna have to go. I'm sorry, sir. So what happens with these guys is they can suck up your Pikmin, which isn't the end of the world if they don't get a ton, but if you spend too long on the sub-level, you actually can kill your Pikmin that way. They'll die inside of him from, I guess, like, jellyfish toxins or whatever the heck. So I just want to get that going. Next up, I gotta take on the Greater Spotted Jellyfloat, which... he's not that bad in this game. He just kind of has a little bit more spunk to him. That's the best way I would describe him. Like, he'll shake off with more... Come on. Did the treasure fall and is not being carried right now? I'm going to be so upset. Okay. Not the best layout in the world, but I'll take it. Okay, kind of a large layout for this one, which is never that much fun. So this layout, this one sub-level is kind of cool, because, like, it really, shit just spawns on top of each other. And I always find that to be cool in, like, this type of game. Like, that fly is spawning in the water next to the Wollywog. I find that to be very fun. Like, you gotta navigate this guy, who looks like he's gonna not be an issue. Alright, I don't know where the exit is. Okay. Yeah, the exit can kind of spawn in, like, a very weird spot in this cave, so it's always important if you ever start feeling a little disoriented, just hit pause and you can check right there. Alright, so this sub-level here can get a little dicey. There's a lot of bombs. Oh, wait, nope, never mind. Next sub-level, I forgot about the rest level. This rest level is not an issue. This rest level is, like, kind of makes this entire cave worth doing. Because not only do you get these butterflies, which have already dropped 2 spicy sprays for me, but you also get this guy, which is just a better version of that green beetle. He'll drop 1 thing of nectar, and then 2 things of spicy spray. So what winds up happening now is, like, I always describe this as a very weird scenario in 251. You're now in a spot where you have more spray than you actually really know what to do with. Which is fun. But it's also, like, a little bit much. What I'm going to do just real quickly is nectar these Pikmin. But that was really, really fortunate RNG right there. Now here's the somewhat annoying sub-level. Alright, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that a treasure is close by. Can we maybe separate a little better than that? Sometimes when you separate the Pikmin, they just don't really like to separate well, and they just kind of stay together. But in general, this is a very good layout. Oh! What the heck? Okay. That could have been way worse. So, yeah, Pikmin 251 is a little brutal some days where, out of nowhere, I just got freaking sniped. But I think that only killed, like... I don't think that killed that many Pikmin. Either way, that was really inconvenient to have that happen. Definitely not a run-killing scenario, though. Like, this is absolutely fine. I would have liked some more blue Pikmin, but it's okay. That's actually kind of why I grow a few extra. It's to give myself a little bit of security. I forgot I needed 2 captains for this. So this guy locks on to the captain that you have, like, active. But if you just switch your captains, like, in a really, like, quick manner, he'll have to readjust his, like, radar, and you can just kill him like that. Very straightforward. Yeah, so like I said, I have more spray than I actually know what to do with right now, which is kind of a cool feeling. I did lose 11 blues, which I don't think is ideal, but it's chill. So we got 2 caves left in all of this. And even though my time estimate is 2:15 and we only have a half hour left, we're chilling out right now. Because these 2 caves require basically no setup to go into. Alright, honestly, as long as I have 40 blue Pikmin, I'll be fine. So we're going to head back over to Flooded Fields. And we're going to do the other 2 caves here. Now, these other 2 caves are very heavily protected by water, and I say very heavily protected with quotation marks in the air, because there is a little bit of a workaround that if you know type stuff. If you don't know, you don't know. So, what we're going to do is just get out 100 Pikmin in general. And we're going to go right ahead. Now, because I'm so ahead on my spray, I'm not going to bother doing 1 spray dupe here. I'll probably do one next Enter Split, but it doesn't really make a ton of sense to do it there. So you can kind of decide, like, with all these sprays, do you want to take that minute and go through the Glint Beetle, or do you not? And right now, because I have so many, I'm not going to go through the Beetle that one time, and I'll probably wind up regretting it, but we'll see. So, here's this little workaround here. Okay, I guess he doesn't want to be up there. We are going to whistle these guys and hold our C-stick all the way up, and they're going to be fine. They're not loving their life right now, it's a little scary, and one of them I think just fell into the water, but what I can do is just use my blue Pikmin as a lifeguard, and all of a sudden, we are in a very, very good position here. Yeah, if I have 39, that still works. Anything under 40, though, you start getting into the territory where your army isn't big enough to guarantee that you'll keep them on the land. Because if you have, like, 35... I feel like 35 might be, like, the absolute limit that you can get away with on that. But, like, if you have anything less than that, your Pikmin are going to slide into the water very early on. What I'll work on doing here... So, obviously, the only thing for next split is that there's going to be a bridge I have to take down, but that's not going to be a terribly hard endeavor. Okay. Not the biggest fan of doing this IRL, but there's just so much there. I want to get that moving a little. Holy God, that's so much fire. Normally, not all of this is like... See how there's like all this room in the sub-level behind like where this is? Normally this fire shows up there, and you don't have to take out every single one of them. But in this particular iteration of this layout, you do. I guess that's just how it is. Alright, so we get to some of the harder levels here. We have a rest floor real quick, and then we just kind of keep going. Hey, more spicy spray. Where was that wisp? I could use him right now. Oh well. Okay, so let's see. This level has a hidden enemy and a buried treasure. So we're gonna end a beetle, apparently, right at the spawn, which is, like, super not chill. You know what? I don't like him dragging my Pikmin around the field right now with electricity going, but we're just gonna have to sort of vibe. Alright, so that Dweevil will get that. That's fine. Oh, hello, sir. How are you? Because of the yo-yo being right there, like, my treasure gauge was telling me there was a treasure, but I was like, oh yeah, of course, it's the yo-yo treasure. Surely it won't be the hidden Bulborb. It was the hidden Bulborb. Spoiler alerts. Nice. Okay. And what is this up here? The crown room. Whoa, I don't like that noise. Whatever noise that is, I don't like. See, if they swarm those electric beetles off screen and then they get zapped by them off screen, because, like, once your Pikmin are touching something off screen, you've activated it. So, like, alright, so let's try to get this out of him. Alright, fine. This is always the very dangerous dance because these are electric dweevils, so if they decide that they want to shoot their electricity on you, that's not good. Now, this is actually one of my least favorite sublevels for this exact scenario that's unfolding right now. Alright, we got through it. Not the fastest thing ever, I'll be real with you, but it's fine. This is just a lot of average RNG at the end, which is not bad. I mean, average RNG in this game is actually, like, pretty powerful, but you definitely want to be carrying a little bit faster of a run. So, once again, we're going to see another instance of spicy sprays just being massively overpowered. You can pretty much just walk up, dismiss, and move on with your life. So yeah, that sublevel is a little bit scary with all of the bomb rocks, but if you have as many spicy sprays as I do at this point, it's really nothing is frightening. Yeah, 8 spicy sprays is insane. I just can't help but giggle. That is just truly too many spicy sprays for this point in the run, and it's kind of amusing. Alright, that was actually a pretty simple sublevel, and I do appreciate that. Breadbug didn't create problems, nothing crazy happened, it was all just kind of standard. Okay, and now we have the water level. Sublevel 7 in Grubdog Domain is what I like to call the water level. And I call it that because there's just, like, a lot of water. Alright, this guy is going to create problems. Let me take him out. You know what? We're gonna deal with this one at a time. Okay, none of them latched on. That's cool. Come on. So basically the challenge of this sub-level here is to get all of the treasures off of the water. So, like, my first priority in all of the rooms is just to get them away from the water, so I can then use my land Pikmin to get them. And the whole thing, if done well, is pretty smooth, and I thought that was pretty well. Oh yeah, the exit was in the other room. It's hard to keep track of the exit sometimes. So now, we are going to face off against the dreaded Emperor Bulblax, and if anyone knows anything about just, like, regular Pikmin 2, Emperor Bulblax got, like, pretty nerfed. Actually, really nerfed. And, well, Pickhacker decided to carry on that legacy. So, unfortunately, he's not our most ferocious foe. But, the plus side is that we finally get to discover Purple Pikmin, which is cool. We're only going to grow 5 because we really don't need more than that. It's debatable whether or not we even need the 5 of them. I find them to be so much easier for the next cave. So once again, just hit a quick spicy spray, and here we go. Because he does... Normally enemies are supposed to have some sort of, like, guard against that happening. Like, with bosses, you can't do damage until their, like, initial action is done. In Emperor, I guess they just kind of forgot that part of the code, because if you land on his face during his, like, get-up animation, he just dies. Alright, so we have Steel Catacombs left to go. And we should be good. And if I want to continue on Estimate, I got about 15 minutes to do it, which should be fine. We have our last percentage cutscene playing, and we'll just go finish this bad boy up. Oh, okay, I guess that's all my, blues. So even though I'm not really in dire need of Spicy Spray here, I kind of need Nectar, so I'm just gonna get it. Because right now, way too many of my Pikmin have leaves to do this trick efficiently. If I just can get them to bud Pikmin, it will be fine. Yeah. Now, there is a bridge to Steel Catacombs. Now, what winds up happening is after you've visited an area for the first time, essentially, you only have to worry about the first round of bridge health, and then after that, it gets set to 1 for some reason that I don't totally understand why. But basically, once they undo that first section of bridge, they're going to start, like, uncurling it like crazy. So I just want to use this time right now and use my Spicy Spray to get it going quicker. I almost don't bring my purples on accident. Alright. And if a purple dies, it dies. It's not really the end of the world. They have a hard time staying up on that ledge. That white's gonna die as well. And the bridge is built. I have my army. And we're ready to go. So, Steel Catacombs is kind of... The challenge of it is just the sheer size of some of these sublevels. Some of them, like this one, is not very big whatsoever. I mean, like, at all. I don't think I saved him. That's fine. Okay, so here's where these purple Pikmin really come into, like, big use. These bomb enemies are normally very dangerous, but with purple Pikmin, they're very trivial because the purple Pikmin will just keep them stunned on the ground like that until I am, like, fully ready to deal with that. And they won't be producing and throwing bombs at all angles, which is nice. So I just want to get this treasure past these Dweevils. And if they pick it up, that is actually fine, because the purple Pikmin will just release the treasure from them once they hit the ground like that. So yeah, this sublevel becomes very, very trivial. Which is ordinarily one of the more difficult sublevels in the game, so it's very nice to have just like a little bit of a saving thing. Because that was smooth as anything, where normally you'd have to be fighting these 4 Dweevils for your life, and those Dirigibugs, the bomb enemies, would be throwing bombs constantly at you. Instead, now we're just waiting on this treasure to get in so we can move. So what's really exciting with this game is that there is a 2-player component to it, and obviously I don't have a second person with me right now, but in about a month, we're doing as a community a IRL meetup for the Pikmin community, and, ooh, I guess I lost 3. The current world record holder, Urban Deer, and I are actually going to do a 2-player run of all treasures, which is going to be pretty hype because it's going to be complicated as anything. Blues, where are you? I would appreciate right now if this snitch bug can kind of like mind its own business off screen somewhere. Alright, cool. Wow, that's my first poison Pikmin of the run. That's crazy. I always just assume by now that that cutscene has taken place. Okay, sublevel 4, there is a treasure hidden inside of a crab, and then there is also a marble out in the open. I think that crab is the one on the bottom rung there, so let's see. Can he come up at all? No, he can't. Okay, fine. Then what I'm going to have to do... Got it. Cool. Yeah, no. Usually, like, with this particular run, poison is just so common that you just assume you're going to get it throughout the run, and you just kind of play like you've gotten the cutscene. So it was almost like a little weird for me when I didn't get it, and all of a sudden it was just happening. Alright, here's the giant layout that can get kind of terrifying. Right now, this looks okay. We'll see in real time how okay this is. See, this is a fun instance, though, where we can use these bombs to really, really help me out here. Alright. Got it. Oh, shit. That's really bad. La 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 la. That's really not good. Don't really have a great answer for that at the moment. Other than, let's just see what the hell happens. Nice. Alright, what can I do over here? Come here. Okay. Awkward sub-level now because of the low numbers, but we should still be okay. Like, we should be able to finish the run for sure. So for anyone who missed it, I blew up about 35 of my Pikmin in a bomb. You shouldn't be doing that. So I only have 270 more Pokos I have to collect here. I elected to collect them on that one because this next level has water to it, and I really don't want to end up in a waterlocked component like I'm about to be here. I guess it's fine. What the hell? Okay. Okay. No, it will be fine. It's just, not fast. Okay, cool. Like, that was actually a very bad layout right there. But because we were able to grab onto one treasure, we were saved. And now we can fight the final boss of this sub-level of this cave and be ready to go. Oh wow, he got a stun from my purple Pikmin. That's very rare. Normally I don't fight him, but normally I also don't lose 30 plus Pikmin. Alright, so the debt has been paid. We're going to land back on land, and I will let you know when it's time to split. When this text goes away and the screen goes black, the run is done. 2:14:20. Thank you guys for tuning in for Pikmin 251 Payoff Debt. I do apologize for the internet blip at the beginning of the run. Hopefully that didn't distract things too much from the run. And here we are. I figure I will let this beautiful cutscene play. You know, as we finish things up, I'll let Microsoft assets do the talking here. I think for his first cutscene, this was amazing. But like I said, right now on my channel, I'm currently working on the All Treasures variant of this game. I have a meetup coming up soon where the Urban Deer and I will be doing a 2-player run. It should be about 4.5 hours. That'll take place really in a month from now, actually. And right now, the Pickhacker team is going to get a little bit of their credit in all of this stuff. They took the time to go out there and figure out all of who deserves what credit. But yeah, if you go, just type in your quick Google search, Pickhacker GitHub, you'll get access to this game, you'll get access to all of his other creations. Colossal Caverns, Endless Abyss, Pikmin Squared, just a wonderful resource.
as we let these credits play out, is there any other shout-outs you'd like to make before we transition over to our next run?
Well, I just like to wrap it up. Everybody in this credits definitely deserves all of the credit. No, well, actually, yes, pun intended. And then, really just thank you to Urban Deer, Jack Draz, Felipe Productions, all for helping out with the route and everything. And stay tuned, because we're about to take an axe and rebuild the entire route again. Thank you so much for having me and Pikmin 251 on your marathon.
Thank you very much for coming to showcase Pikmin, Fangames, and ROM hacks for the first time ever. Really appreciated. Alright, with that, it looks like the credits are over. We are gonna take it to the intermission for a few minutes as we prepare for our next run, which is Super Mario Mon by Iron. That'll be interesting, so stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Alright, I can